the work world confusing? Congested? Are you just trying to find your way? There must be a light at the end of this tunnel. Well, there's a way to find your calling, to find that job you want and deserve, when someone will come up to you and say, "You're hired." Hi, I'm Steve Piazzale, a career and life coach, and welcome to You're Hired, a show about jobs and careers in which we answer questions such as, how do I find work that makes me come alive? How do I get that job I want and deserve? How do I find out about careers in different fields? Well, we're going to answer those questions and many more by having on the show knowledgeable, lively guests, and we certainly have one today. Before I introduce him, though, I'd like to invite you to check out my website where we've added the 12 keys to getting a great job. You can sign up for my free career newsletter there, and you can find out about the career coaching I do. Essentially what I do is work with people one-on-one to help them get unstuck and build momentum towards achieving their goals faster than they would on their own. This usually saves time, money, and a whole lot of stress. You can find out about that at www.bayareacareercoach.com. Again, it's www.bayareacareercoach.com. Well, I want to welcome to the show Dr. John Krumboltz. And normally I memorize the intro, but I want to read you what he's accomplished. He's professor of education and psychology at Stanford University, a licensed psychologist, author of the book Luck is No Accident. We'll go over that in a lot of detail. He's received the Guggenheim Fellowship, designated a living legend in counseling, received the nation's foremost award in counseling psychology, been inducted into the Hall of Fame, as listed in Who's Who in America, and other than that, he hasn't done too much. Amazing. Welcome to the show, John.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Steve.
What Hall of Fame are you in? You're in the Baseball Hall.
Well, I was very glad that you mentioned that living legend, because if you're going to be labeled a legend, that's the kind of legend I want to be.
You want to be living. So, well, let's just jump right into it. You have a bit of an unusual idea about how people find the work they do and how they might be able to make a change. Can you tell us a little bit about that approach?
Well, we call it a happenstance approach, and a lot of people misunderstand what that means. It means, though I don't have to do anything, I just have to wait for something to happen. No, that's not the idea. The idea is you have to make it happen by the actions that you take. Mm-hmm. So that is just the heart of the idea, but getting people to take those actions and think about life as the result of all kinds of unplanned events. Now, Steve, here you are, a life coach. Now, when you were 18 years old, had you decided to become a life coach?
Absolutely not. I did not know at all.
All right. When I was 18, had I ever decided to be a professor? Absolutely not. Mm-hmm. Never occurred to me. In fact, see, one of the things that my parents used to ask me, well, what are you going to be when you grow up, John? And I said, well, I don't know. And they said, well, you're supposed to make up your mind. Well, how do you make up your mind? I just never knew how to do it. Mm-hmm. And I had a friend, Leo, who I once said, when we were 12 years old, I said, Leo, do you know what you want to be when you grow up? And he says, oh, sure. You do? Well, what? Oh, I'm going to be an architect. You are? How did you find that out? I thought, see, he's going to tell me the method that he used to find that out. Uh-huh. And he says, oh, I've always known that. Didn't help me a bit. Uh-huh.
So how did you, tell us a little bit of your story, because it's a really interesting one. Just a few of the highlights, the chance events that led to you being a professor.
Every job I have ever had was a result of chance events. Every single job. And I'll bet you that if you ask people how they got their job, they will mention some unexpected events that enabled them to do it. I mean, someone told them something. Oh, you ought to talk to so-and-so. Or, people like you kind of ought to work over there. You never know what people are going to say to you. Okay, well, but I think, in the book I've described, how I got to major in psychology. But let's skip ahead from that.
Okay.
Okay. I'm finally a senior at Coe College in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, my hometown, and I'm worried that I'm in danger of graduating. And I don't have the slightest idea what I'm going to do after I graduate. Mm-hmm. So I was working part-time for a professor there, Professor Clitheroe, and so I decided I would just ask him if he had any ideas of what I should do. So I go in and say, Professor Clitheroe, I don't know what I'm going to do after I graduate. Do you have any ideas? And he said, well, no, not really for you. But he said, oh, but where were you born? And I said, well, I was born right here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Oh, he said, well, maybe you'd be eligible then for a fellow. I just read a newsletter. There's a fellowship that Columbia University is offering that is available only for people who were born in Iowa. And maybe, oh, wow, maybe you could apply for it. He says, I don't think you'll get it, though. But that was the only idea he had. And so I decided to write to Columbia University, find out about it, get the application forms. And I filled them all out, sent them in. Didn't think I was going to get it. But lo and behold, a few months later, I'm awarded this fellowship. It was a very generous fellowship from Columbia University. So when fall semester opened, why, I traveled to New York City, Columbia University, and waited for registration day. Registration day comes, and I go to the psychology department. And I said, well, here I am. And they said, well, what kind of psychology do you want to study here? And I said, oh, is there more than one type? And the guy said, oh, yeah, there's all variety. There's educational and physiological and experimental and perceptual. He listed about 12 different types of psychology. The only one that I even knew what it could possibly mean was educational.
Oh, right.
Because I didn't know what all those other words meant. So I said, well, that educational sounds good. He says, oh, in that case, you should be going to Teachers College. It's across the street. Go across 125th Street and register over there. Oh, okay. So I got up and walked across 125th Street, and there's a long line of people waiting to register. So I got in line, and after a couple hours, I finally got to the head of the line, and there's a lady there named Ruth Strang, and she said, I'm signing up people for school counseling. Would you like to be a school counselor? And I said, oh, yeah, that sounds good to me. And so I signed up for the course there, and I spent a year studying how to be a school counselor, and also how to be a secondary school social studies teacher. But then when I got in the spring, and I realized I was in danger of graduating again.
It keeps popping its head up.
And I said, I've got to get a job. How am I going to get a job?